Hi, awesome members of the nest. It's nice to see you this afternoon. Take us on an adventure, Jordan. I will. I'm here with the amazing members of my team. I'm here with Yeatasmin, who some of you might know from Team Curation. I'm here with Crystal, who's on Team Customer Service, actually heads up customer service, very important job. And Marina, who is part of our business operations team, and Cindy, who is head of our business operations team. Thank you so much to my amazing coworkers for being here with me today on this live stream. And thank you to the members of the nest who are watching, because if you weren't watching, we wouldn't be able to be here. We have a number of questions to kind of get stuck into with everybody today. But the very first thing that I want to do is introduce you to everyone properly. And I'm going to pick on Yeatasmin first because Yeatasmin's done this before.
Yeah, so kind of like what Jordan said, you might know me from Coffee with Curators. My name is Yeatasmin. I am one of the curators on the OwlCrate team, so I'm very involved with the design and just curating the boxes that you guys get to enjoy.
And Crystal.
I'm Crystal, obviously, yes. Some of you have been around for a while, may recognize my face. I've been recently branded the head of customer success. I've been doing customer support since July of 2016. So you may have spoken to me before as well, but happy to be here today.
Marina.
Hello, my name is Marina. I take care of ordering our items for the boxes, amongst some other things. Super excited to be here. This is my first time and excited to get into it.
And finally, Cindy.
Hi, I'm Cindy. I'm the head of business operations for OwlCrate, which is all the stuff that kind of the teams that happen sort of behind the scenes that gets things from one point to the other. We do all the logistics and the purchasing and data analytics and the labels and the boxes that go out and all that good stuff. So all of that great things, and glad to be here today.
And I'm glad that everybody's here because a lot of the time you just see myself or Yeatasmin or members of our social marketing team, where really OwlCrate, all of the stuff happens on the back end. And we're going to talk today about how we get your box full of your awesome goodies to your door. And then what might happen even after that point. So I have a number of questions that I'm going to go around round robin style, if that's okay. And I'm going to actually start with Crystal. Now, Crystal, you've been a part of Team OwlCrate since 2016, so nearly the beginning. What have been the biggest changes that you've seen operationally in its growth?
Well, you're looking at it. 4 brand new faces that have been new in the past 6 months, if not the past year. And our team is just, I think at one point, for the longest point, there were only 5 of us doing everything. And now we have 30 people. Like we've become a really great machine. I don't want to say we're a machine, we're people, but everybody has bigger roles and more support. And like the curation team is so much bigger than it was before. And the social media and community team is wild. There's so many of us involved, and the content is just skyrocketed for sure.
And what has been your favorite change?
More people.
You can say it's hanging out with us. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. I think just getting in more people who are well-versed in the roles that they're in. So everything's running a lot more smoothly than, not that it used to, it's just running more efficiently than it was before. Not that before it was bad.
And I don't have any experience from when it used to be a smaller team, but from my perspective, I'm not sure about Yeatasmin, Cindy, or Marina. It's been a really awesome community to be involved with, working with every single day, because I don't think that there's ever been a day where I've had a question that didn't go unanswered, or I felt like I didn't have the support that I needed. Because as you said, everybody has expertise, and it's just been wonderful.
Yeah, there's people to reach out to now that have the answers that you need, and it's not like, oh no, I have to figure something out myself and take all the time to research and dig in and sort of hunt and peck your way through something. We've got some awesome people and some awesome spots that do really cool things now. So yeah.
And it, you know, not even just about the work. I'll let you in on a little secret. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, Crystal, Sophie, and I all hung out and we actually watched a movie.
That was fun. And we're in like Vancouver, BC, Kingston, Ontario, and Glasgow, Scotland. So we had this like virtual movie day because we were all talking about the same thing, and then we just watched it. It was great.
Let's talk a little bit about being a remote team, if that's okay. Because I think it's, you know, while a lot of people are being urged to go back to the office right now, I think everybody knows my experience with that. Everybody's in all sorts of different countries and different areas and have from different backgrounds, but somehow we all make it work, and we all work very odd hours.
I can say as a grad student, it's really helpful to be in a remote team because it just really easy to make it work with my schedule. When you're a grad student, you barely find time, but you make it like I can make it work because I'm on a remote schedule. And so I'm from New York. I'm also 3 hours ahead from Vancouver time, I think. So I think it's just like we really make it work in terms of scheduling and making sure everyone is able to do what they need to do like together in terms of meetings and stuff. But I think with remote working, there's just a better work-life balance that I really enjoy from like compared to working in an office.
Yeah, I as someone who has like grown kids now and have a little more freedom to spread my wings and go where I like, I love the fact that being remote allows me to travel and still work. So if I decide I want to go visit family back east, I can go and do that and just work my shifts during the week and still have time to visit on weekends and evenings, things like that. Or I have a trip to California coming up. We're going to be able to work from there as well. So all those different options just make it so wonderful. And also the opportunity just to like work with people from different backgrounds and different areas of the world gives you more perspective of what our customers want. And because we have customers everywhere. They're not just located in Canada or the US, North America. Everybody's all over the planet. So it's very cool.
I also think I can speak on behalf of my dog, who's very happy to have me being a remote worker. I think that's really awesome. And like Cindy said, I think it's really cool that, you know, you can travel, but you can still work. Like there's not so many limitations, which I think is really awesome too.
So I was working from home since before COVID. Like as soon as I started working for OwlCrate, I didn't have to go to an office that barely existed. I could just work from home. But the interesting thing that COVID brought about was how much connection is involved in working from home. Like pre-COVID, buddy watching a movie virtually was not even an idea. We would never have done that. And the fact that Zoom calls and Hangouts and things like this just wasn't really a thing, but COVID made it. Kind of COVID was a little bit of a blessing because it showed we could do so many things without having to go to a designated place every day, and also to diversify the people that work here. If we were hiring just from Vancouver, you know, we wouldn't have found some of the great people that we have available in other places.
I agree. And some of the comments have said that sense of community carries over to subscribers.
Oh, good.
Which is true, because I'll be honest, like I think we're all friends. If you get that vibe on the other end of this camera, it's true. We are all friends. We all hang out and chat with each other all day long. Not that we don't work. We do. Our bosses are watching this. We do. And I think that that's pretty evident, but we are all friends. And everybody says puppy dogs, the real beneficiaries of work from home, 100%. Somebody's also mentioned asking what movie. Hot Fuzz.
Oh yeah, we watched Hot Fuzz.
We are nothing if not highbrow. You're at OwlCrate.
I think the other thing I even said to Sil a couple of weeks ago is that if you're working with OwlCrate for a week, you're automatically family. Like there's no in between. It's like, oh, you're welcome. Oh, you're welcome. And then the next day it's like, hi, you're family. What are you doing? Good luck with whatever you got going on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like little messages and check-ins.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been so apparent. Like I've been here since July of last year, and at the same time, it feels like it's been 5 seconds because things move fast and there's so much to do, and we are on it. It also feels like I've been here forever, and it's home, and it's great. It's so welcoming to come to work every day and know that the people that you're going to be in meetings with or on the phone with are going to be wonderful and kind and fantastic and supportive and all those good things. So I appreciate that.
Yeatasmin, my next question is for you. And folks had just asked this question actually about the planning of the boxes. Most of us have seen Coffee with Curators, and the last one in the Nest was awesome, by the way. And most of our engaged subscribers understand how items are dreamt up. But can you take us through the practical planning, maybe with Marina, of finding folks to make those items? How do you choose artists, specifically artists, and collaborate with them?
Yeah, so in terms of choosing artists, beforehand we do go through a lot of brainstorming on the art style and the elements that we want in our books and items. You have to have that established before you even look for the artists that would match that aesthetic, right? So through that brainstorming, we do our research of what kind of artist and what kind of art style that we see that they have that can work with the brainstorm that we come up with. And no two book is going to have the like exact same like brainstorm. At least we try not to keep it like that. We try to have like unique elements in our books, and especially now with more redesigned covers, that comes with a lot more brainstorming on how we want to implement that. And with that comes finding artists that we think can execute that art style and just overall vibe that we're going for. So making sure that it sticks with our themes and such. And so a lot of the times our artists, we find them on social media. There are some artists that we have on a whole database, a whole list that we sometimes go back to. We use artists that we've used before and we really enjoyed working with, and just overall making sure that the art that they do works with the vision that we want, and that they can see our vision and execute it. And for the most part, they definitely do. Like, they're amazing and they're talented, and it's really a privilege to work with people who just know very well what we want in our items, and like are enjoying the collaborative process that works with just working with artists and executing all of the item and designs in the boxes.
That's awesome. And we have such a large database too of artists, and we're always discovering new artists and things like that as well. Marina, because this question kind of goes hand in hand. Now, you sit in a lot of the curation meetings with the curation team, which lucky. I've heard that you know everything in our boxes for the next 6 months.
She knows everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about the practical planning? So when we find an artist to work with, is it sometimes challenging to get that amount of items made in a specific time frame?
It definitely can be. I think that I think OwlCrate in general has come to like a point where we've gotten really good at the planning stage, and I am very blessed and lucky to be able to sit in on the creative process, which is really fun. And I think from more of a logistical point of view, it's all about timing and making sure, we've got everything, due dates and deadlines and things like that. And sometimes things, go past those time frames, and that's okay, because I think a really fun part about of these curation meetings as well is planning for things that don't always go the way that they should go, and having alternatives and items and things like that. And another thing to what Yeatasmin said as well, that I think is really important, is the themes of the box too. And with the artists and with the items, planning around the themes that we're looking to do in the brainstorming process. So yeah, it can sometimes be a lot of different items that we're looking at, but I think at the end of the day, once we have an idea in mind, we can really match the items that we're planning to do in the boxes with those themes and with the art as well, which I think is really cool to see everything come together.
I just want to drop some hype. Going back to what Yeatasmin said about the cover redesigns and stuff. I don't get to sit in on these meetings, but I get to like peek in the door when they arrive at the warehouse and see the photos. And February's book blew my mind. I think I immediately went to our chat and Slack and was like, oh my God, I need this book. It's so amazing. I don't know what artist you used or how you pulled that off, but I think people are going to be really excited for that book.
Yeah, it's a stunning cover. This, I would say, like February's box is definitely before my time because I came in pretty recently. But it was one of those books that I saw. I was just like, oh my gosh, like they did such a good job. And it's just awesome to see that, especially like now that I am more involved in the curation process, having been here a while now, to see like how well it becomes executed, because you have these thoughts and ideas and like you have so much in your brain, and sometimes it's even just hard to put into words what you want to see come out of it, but then you see it happen and you're like, wow, this is like so amazing. Like it's just almost like a privilege to see like how it like comes out, and like being able to see all of that like come together is like really fun.
It's magic.
It must be
It
so.
has been. Nick DuPont asks, do you decide the vibe first and then choose what type of item you want? Or do you think of the item first and then see whether or not something fits that vibe?
It's a lot of back and forth actually, because usually while we're reading the book, we can kind of figure out what kind of vibe we want, but also there are so many items that we already have in mind from like even months before, where we're like, maybe we can include that in this box again. And we usually start out with like a whole list of items that we're like, oh, this would be really cool to include in this upcoming box. But as we're kind of continuing to brainstorm and go back and forth on like seeing like, oh, this is the art style that we can go with this, or this is the vibe that we can go with this that would work with the theme, that's when we kind of narrow down like, oh, maybe this item wouldn't exactly work for this, but we keep it in mind for like future boxes. So it's just a matter of like making sure it works with the box. There are always items that like we keep in the back of our mind just to see like, okay, maybe we can include this in the future, but at the very least we just try to make it a very cohesive box with the items.
And it's been working out really well. I mean, January's box, everybody's talking about it for good reason, because it's stunning and it's beautiful, and it's probably one of my favorite boxes that OwlCrate's ever put out. And I think everybody's saying exactly the same thing. Shaughnessy would like to know, Marina, maybe you can answer this one. How far ahead are you working? You can blow their minds. You can tell them how far ahead OwlCrate works.
Yeah, I would say 6 months, even 7 months is what we're planning for right now, which is
We're on July right now, aren't we? I think
it's August.
yeah. Well, we will be. Yep, the early stages of July. Yep.
Yeah.
CF George says January was one of my all-time favorites for a reason. Of Pages and Ink asks, will there be any hints in the live for the next collection? How could I put this? Keep an eye on social media in the next couple of days, especially on Instagram, because Christiane's been working on something very cool for everyone. And yes, there will be some hints as to what we're doing. I believe on Thursday or Friday, but I can't tell you right now. Come on, guys. We've already dropped all sorts of hints.
Yeah, it's always hard to be on these lives and people ask, do you have any hints? And I'm like, I am sorry, we have given you enough. You're gonna have to wait a little bit longer.
We can't pop Christiane's bubble. She's working hard on this. We gotta leave her the fanfare.
Exactly. Now, Cindy, over to you. We ship boxes monthly, which has got to be insane in terms of transportation and logistics. And they're expected to arrive pretty much at the same time every month. Can you tell us how on earth we get items from one area of the world to the other?
Oh my goodness. I will try and simplify that as best that I can, because it is a process and a half. So not only do we have to get all the different items that we want in the box to our location at the same time, we also have to have all our packaging products and all of our other printed materials and everything else there as well. Then we have a fantastic fulfillment team that puts everything together for us, and their quality control is top notch. I have to say, throw it out to that team because they are amazing. And once they've built all the boxes, then we have to get them to where they need to go. And that's where another staff member, Garrett, he is a wizard with the labels and the making sure everybody gets the boxes that they're supposed to get, where they're supposed to get them, and all that stuff. So he's the man that handles all of that good stuff and gets all the labels to the warehouse when they need to get there by, so that we can get them stuck on the boxes and shipped out on time. Our international goes a little bit different than the US domestic stuff. So we have another partner that helps us get all those things to the right country. Usually every once in a blue moon, we have a little hiccup and then they get to talk to Crystal, but she's pretty good at sorting that out and getting things back to people where they need to be. But it's kind of a little bit of pure magic that happens. And it's because we have so many wonderful people in the supply chain that know exactly what they're doing and do it really well, and make sure that they're there for us when we need them there. So yeah, all the props go to them.
A shout out to our fulfillment team too. I've actually had people email into customer support to be like, I don't know who packs your boxes, but it's like Tetris. Everything fit perfectly. Everything arrived in great shape. And it's just so, I always pass that on to them because I'm like, good job, team.
Sometimes it's like there's a millimeter of extra space. Like, there's no extra room in there. So yeah, they do a great job.
And unfortunately, Cindy, we have this question. Will our boxes ship out late like January's box for February?
No.
Maybe. We are still waiting on an item.
So we are waiting on one item. We have been promised that it'll get here as soon as it possibly can. So there may be a short delay, but it will not be like January. January was due to a USPS hiccup for the domestic market. And we've worked that out and everything is flowing smoothly with them. So we won't have that same issue, but we are waiting on one amazing item that is definitely worth waiting for. And we don't want to ship that box without it in it. And you'll thank me for it later.
No, we can't tell you what it is.
But Cindy, Literary Panic says, huge shout out to the fulfillment/shipping team. Ordered extras from the OwlCrate store and got them within a week. Nice. Yeah, we like that.
Where they live? Where do they live? In the US?
Where do you live, Literary Panic?
It's for my data.
We don't need your address, but
Please don't put your address in the nest. Just, this is a public service announcement from Jordan. And of Pages and Inks, Crystal says, pretty sure Crystal was the one I talked to when I was missing a candle in one of my boxes, and it came really fast, so thank you. And Literary Panic is in Wyoming.
Oh, cool. That's a nice quick ship.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to your customer service team. Crystal, you are getting a lot of love, so I'm going to give you another question. Many readers
have two teammates, so as much love for me. I know Amber works really hard, and I have a good team, so I'm glad everybody's happy with us.
Amber and
Callie just started.
There's your shout out. Okay, perfect. So to the customer service team, Crystal's going to answer. Many readers and even non-subscribers from different areas of the internet have commented that we have the best customer service of any box. So our subscribers and randoms say this. How do we stay on top with our customer service?
I'm supposed to pat myself on the back a little. I don't know.
Yes,
dedication.
You're allowed.
Why?
High numbers, raise my anxiety levels. And I'm like, oh no, people are waiting. So our goal is to reply within like 24 to 48 hours. I mean, sometimes, during something like Black Friday or shipping just before Christmas or random when we have a big shop sale and tickets just come in such an influx, we do our best to keep on top of everything. But I think we also, on my team, we each have our strength and our specialty. So like if anybody had a damaged item recently, you've been speaking to Amber and she's super fast and she takes care of all of those in good time. I've been speaking to a lot of international people. So that's, if we each focus on our strength and our assigned tasks, we tend to move through things quite quickly. And also, just like we talked about earlier, we're all friends and we're all family and it's fun. So it's having group chats that are all camaraderie. It's like, okay, we're down to this many. We should clear this day, and then we could do this day. And it's kind of like a little pep talk. And it's exciting to see that number of 0 at the end of the day where we've helped every single person that's emailed us. But sometimes that number isn't always reached because things are busy, but we do our best to get things to 0 when we can.
I think it's an excellent response.
Yeah.
24 to 48 hours, Crystal. Wow, go customer service team.
And I used to do this job by myself. You can imagine how happy I was when we hired a second person. But
That just speaks to OwlCrate's growth, though, and how much the subscribers love us, too, because you know that we are about to sell out our subscriptions. For anybody watching who does not currently have a subscription, you're going to want to get one because we have almost 0 boxes left. I'm sure it's not 0.
Yeah.
It's probably like 10.
But close.
It's been a long time since we've been close to sellout, but I think that's going to happen at some point this spring.
Marina, are we close to 0? Is it 10? It's 11.
I don't know the exact number, but I believe we are very close to 0.
That's amazing. And somebody had just mentioned, Crystal, I've always been so pleased with OwlCrate's customer service. And they try to emulate customer service emails that OwlCrate sends out, which is amazing. Well done.
Move on to someone else.
Okay, Yeatasmin, I'm gonna poke at you next. Can you tell us a little bit about what goes into the process of determining the redesign for our book covers, specifically that we choose to include on our boxes? At what point do we choose an artist, and does that come from the artist, or does the curation team have a lot of say in the covers redesign?
Mm-hmm. So when we're reading our manuscripts, we take our manuscript notes. We call them our manuscript notes, that we keep them in their respective places. And while we're taking our manuscript notes, we keep track of any element that we think could be helpful, whether it be like imagery, scenes, quotes, character design, all of that. We keep that noted down while we're reading, so that when it comes time to redesigning book covers, we use those elements and come up with a cohesive design. So the designs of like the front cover, the quote that we use on the back, the end paper design, the end pages that sometimes either have like creative little imagery or sometimes has like a scene with the main characters. So our manuscript notes really help with that. And we usually come up with the vision and the art direction that we want for the book covers before choosing an artist. So having that brainstorm done ahead of time helps us narrow down what kind of artist we want to create that design, basically. So the brainstorming, I would say, comes first, and then from there we give that brainstorm brief to the artist and they execute it with all the talent that they have. And it usually comes out so stunning.
What has been your favorite redesigned cover so far? You can even tell a future month, but you can't tell us what it is.
I'm really excited for June's. I keep saying this in the lives that like I'm really excited for June's box, but I think because June is just something so unique, I am just really excited for people to see what that book looks like. I can't say anything beyond that, but like I am holding in all of my excitement for that book because it's a really fun book and it's just gorgeous to like look at.
Can you spill the color? What's the main color of the book?
I don't even know if I can spoil a color because there's not like.
Darn. Okay, warm up.
We had boxes in the back that had like a whole color scheme. Like one summer box a few years ago, everything had green. So I think spoiling the cover is not a good thing. Keep the color too.
Yeah,
is
it'll
it a
definitely.
warm color or a cool color?
Oh, like the tone of it?
Mm-hmm.
Probably leaning towards cool.
Okay.
Yeah, we are trying to keep the color kind of cohesive with this box too. So I don't want to spoil the color, but it's we're really excited, and I think people will really like the theme of the box too. Yeah.
I actually think I know what that box is, so
okay.
I'm excited too. On a personal level. And somebody said the marketing and ads are great too. I see them a lot on various platforms and they really pull it in. thank you from a fringe member of the marketing team. The marketing team is actually watching this live, so they might actually respond directly back to you.
Hi,
We
guys.
have a lot of fun in our silly marketing meetings. And thank you, Yeatasmin. I knew I'd be able to get something out of that for the Nest members.
I try to be really careful because I'm like, I cannot spoil anything. I need to keep up the surprise, but it's worth the wait. Like, it's so pretty.
It's my job to give them little bits. I got to Hansel and Gretel this situation. It keeps them coming back for more. Marina, let's talk about mistakes. I know, a little hot under the collar, but this happens to everybody. Not every item that we order could arrive in excellent condition. And even if it leaves an area in excellent condition, something might happen along the way. What happens when we find an item that we've included in our box that's not in an ideal condition to be sent to customers? Do we ever plan on alternatives?
Absolutely. And part of the, I would say, beginning to mid process is making sure that we're getting samples of these items and making sure that the quality is what we expected it to be, and all of that fun stuff to eliminate any kind of disappointments when the items go out to customers. What we've done in the past sometimes, and things all, there's a lot of changes that happen based on this. But we will, if it isn't something, we either are rethinking if the item works for the particular box, we can either move it to another month. We can do some switching around. A lot of the times, because we kind of tackle this so early on in the process, what we'll do is we may just, start over and choose another item. So definitely lots of room for alternatives for sure. And I think it's really great that we've come to a point where we're giving ourselves a lot of times to plan for these kinds of things to happen, so that we can keep you guys as happy as possible, of course. And I think that's why, the boxes have been so successful for sure.
We try to have really good relationships with our manufacturers too. So if they know on their end something's gone wrong and they're not going to get it to us in a really good time, or they're having manufacturing issues and the quality's just not coming out, they'll let us know. And that gives us an even bigger window to be like, okay, we need to source something else, and we need to get it to be something that's going to be high quality that we can get here within the time we have left. So taking advantage of those situations and building those relationships and make sure we have really great communication with everybody that we work with is a huge piece of that.
And the quality of our items is only going up.
Yeah.
We're really, what I can share with everybody is that the curation and logistics teams are pushing the bar this year with the items. The items that we have coming in the next 11 months are incredible. I can't give you any more details than that, but they're going to be awesome.
I'm so excited to get some of them.
Me too.
Me too. I think that's another little fun kind of behind the scenes thing. A lot of us actually are just as excited as anybody else to get the OwlCrate box in the mail.
Yeah, for sure.
We get them around the same time, I think, as everyone else too.
Yep.
So it's kind of fun to join in that excitement of like, oh my gosh, like I got my box, I can unbox it. I don't have any patience to wait. So like, especially as someone who shows the boxes on lives, I like really quickly unbox to see everything and then rebox so that I can remember like, okay, I have to keep this. I can't just like start like having them all over the place, but like I get so excited getting those boxes.
I live in a teeny tiny town and our shipping takes usually a couple days to a week longer than everybody else. So I get to see all the unboxings online before I get my box. So I'm always like, yeah, I'm going to get it soon.
I sometimes forget, even if I see spoilers. It's like my brain chooses to disregard what I've seen. Even if I'm unpublishing content on the Nest, I'm like, no, we don't share that too early, guys. Come on. Yeah, so January was actually mostly a total surprise for me.
Just due to the size of my apartment and how much stuff that I have, I've stopped getting a monthly box about a year and a half ago, but I definitely have FOMO. And every time I see something, like I got this OwlCrate Junior Back to the Future mug. It just arrived like today. because I was like, oh my God, I need that. That's so amazing. So I clearly understand the FOMO.
Some of the junior stuff lately has been so good.
Yeah.
The feedback we've gotten has been amazing. And yeah, it's just people are in love with it. It's awesome.
Yeah, the junior boxes are so cool.
There's a super cool craft in the January junior box that my child ripped into and would not let me do anything else before like crafting this. And it's actually on her bedside table.
Nice.
Yeah. It has place of honor. It was such a cool box, and I love all the mugs and things like that. Like you'd mentioned, one of my favorites is the Smaug mug.
Oh, I have that one too.
Junior. I love that mug. Shout out to the junior curation team too, if they're watching. Cindy, what are some of the unique challenges that OwlCrate faces when we're trying to get items from one country to our distribution center? How difficult is it to determine what will be arriving at what time? If not impossible, because I had the benefit of watching a podcast about this process that you were involved in about a month ago, and it was entirely over my head. I learned many things, including how difficult it is to ship the parts of roller coasters, which no one watching this has ever determined or thought of before. It's insanity what you have to deal with.
Yeah. So a little bit about my background. I am traditionally a customs broker. So what that is, because nobody probably knows, is somebody who helps business import goods into the country on their behalf. Like I usually work for a company that does the paperwork for companies like OwlCrate. And we tell customs what the goods are. We classify them. We let all the other government departments know if there's anything like for Health Canada, stuff like that. Classify the goods, tell them the value, the countries they're made in, all that good stuff so that things can come into the country and government gets their taxes and all that good stuff. So because I have a bit of that background as well as like transportation background, we've designed a layout of timelines. So we know when we're starting a box, we have so many days to decide on the items. Then we have so many days to get the art done. We have so many days to get the sample back. Then we have so many days for production. Then we have so many days for the boxes to move from where production happens to our facility and then be received and checked to make sure there's no damage and we have enough quantity and all that good stuff. And sometimes there are hiccups because customs says, no, we're going to keep this one and look at it for 3 weeks before we're going to give it to you and things like that. Or the train, the rail goes on strike, or we have a port delays like over COVID when everybody was, lined up for 150 vessels in the water or whatever. So there's always things that cause hiccups. And sometimes we have to switch gears really fast. When we thought we would send something one way, we have to then put it on an airplane or other things. Or if we know we're not going to get it in time, then we're going to get something else that's really close to home and make sure that we have a really good item for you guys, that sort of thing. But it is a lot of juggling. It is keeping track of a lot of things. Marina does a lot of that work. She is on top of every item every month. There's a giant database list of where things are, who's got it, what stage it's in, where it's coming from, where it's going to, all that good stuff to make sure you guys get what you need. And it's a lot of fun, but it's also you definitely have to have your thumb on the heartbeat or you'll miss something. So
out of curiosity, is there one item over another in particular that might be held up that you see on a more common basis?
Most things for shipping is not a problem unless there's dangerous goods involved. So if something that has like a lithium battery in it or something like that, then you have to use very specific ways to ship it. When it comes to customs, a lot of things are just random. They just look at certain things and they don't look at other things. Sometimes it just is a draw. They pick you out of a hat sort of thing. When other government departments are involved, like Health Canada, things like that, they're going to look harder at things that could have diseases or pests or things like that. So we don't usually choose things that could be in those categories like seeds or plants or dirt or stuff like that. So as much as we would like to be able to like include some some cool things that might involve those things, we can't always do it because we're worried that if we send those to different countries, they're going to get held up, or there's going to be some problem with certificates and things like that. We don't want to cause you guys issues with getting your things.
Yeah, I'd never considered that before, that if you can't even do like a grow kit or anything like that, like for flowers or anything in our boxes because of that reason.
Yeah. It would be,
we wouldn't want to introduce weird things to other countries.
Yeah.
That's fascinating and very, very confusing.
Yes.
And I appreciate all of the work that you both do. And I'm sure that everybody in the nest does as well. Because everybody's like, yes, that makes a lot of sense.
No, but yes.
It's funny that some of those items seem to be very arbitrarily chosen at random.
It is, yeah. And sometimes it has to do, I mean, customs has a list of everybody when things come in and that sort of thing. So they do random inspections all the time. It's not out of the norm at all. It happens to every importer. And the rule of thumb is always just declare everything properly, and then you'll be fine. So.
And it's working so far.
Right.
Crystal, I'm going to toss it back to you, and we are about to ask the most important question that we will ask all evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And it's one that I actually didn't get past leadership. So, Crystal, if Karina and Corey were Marvel or DC superheroes, which superhero would they be?
All right. So I did know about this question ahead of time, and I did give it some thought. Anyone in the nest who's been around OwlCrate long enough and knows me and Corey from the YouTube days, you all know how much I love comic books and Batman especially. So I decided to keep it in the Bat family, and Karina would obviously be Batman. If it weren't for her, none of us would be here. You know, she brought our little family together piece by piece, and here we are. And then Corey, the one that immediately came to mind was Oracle, because I feel she deals with so many programs and so many places in the community and marketing and customer rewards and everything else that I feel if I asked her a question, she'd just be like, boop, 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 that's your answer. Boop, 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 that's your answer. So I feel she could just help us all with everything that we need from one little computer. Yeah. I did talk to Shanley about it too, and now we're like putting our heads together to file all of the OwlCrate staff into Bat family roles. So I'm sure that will be a fun inter-office chat later.
We should do it for the team meeting. Just get it all ready for next Tuesday.
Just change everybody's name in the huddle to their new Bat name.
I love that. So yes, I did originally have a very normal question here, but we can't always do normal. So I wonder who Alfred would be. Would it be Syl?
Yeah, it is Syl, because she really takes care of all of us in the end. So
that's true. Now for a more fun question that I kind of want all of us to get involved in, because it's purely hypothetical. I need to put a disclaimer on this. These are not real boxes. They will not exist. But Yeatasmin, if you could design any box and have full total control of the process, what would you include in it?
Oh, that's a hard one. In terms of full total control, it's funny because I'm not going to say what I did during the application process, but part of the application process was putting together a mood board of basically a box based off of a book that we wanted to. And so I really had fun doing that based off of each item being connected to a character. So each item is inspired by like a character and their personality. So like, especially if I can do a box around a book that has like basically like found family type of group, and like all the items are based on that character, and that's like the box, like I would be obsessed with that. And like I don't know how far I could do that, but I did do that when applying for OwlCrate, and I would that would just be so much fun to have. It's just like, oh, this item is for this character, and this item, oh, I see how that's for that character, and just like amplifying like how they connect to that. And just, I feel like that would be a really fun way to make it cohesive and just like get the little hints on like, oh, this is for that and that's for that. I feel like that would be really fun.
That would be fun. And it might actually happen too. Maybe.
I mean,
Who
you
knows?
never know.
I did put a disclaimer. This is not a real box.
Yeah, it's
So what
not.
would your-
I don't want to say like, oh, this is a hint of what's to come, but that's like one of the fun parts of like just coming up with this kind of stuff. Even when I was applying, that was like part of the application process, was to come up with a box that we would like ideally make, like a mood board. And so I think like coming up with like how creative you can get and how different you can get is always just really fun. Like even just part of the curation process of like, what else can we do to like make it unique?
Anybody else have any ideas of their perfect box?
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I am like a thriller girly. I am a horror girly, so I would love to see thriller horror stuff, which would be different, obviously, than our beautiful boxes now. But like in a world where everything exists, that would be really cool to me.
Is there any particular item you'd like to see?
I don't know. I just even think like the like artwork I would be super drawn to as well. Like it would be super dark and interesting. And I think that, you know, there would be so many options or so many opportunities and things like that. It would just be very different, right? Just like the genre itself is pretty weird anyway. So I think all the artwork would be really cool to see on no particular item I can think of, but I think the artwork would be super cool.
Crystal.
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough question. I'm always so blown away what Curation does. Yeah, comic book box would be cool. I like the little touches of comics and anime that Junior's done in the past with like the Teen Titans sticker and the Avatar stuff. The Last Airbender, not the blue ones. I like Yeatasmin's idea about having something character based, like not a real box, disclaimer. But if we did like a special edition box with like a book that had an ensemble cast that we all know so well, and each item was inspired by each character, that would be super cool. That would be fun to plan, I think. But doesn't exist. Fantasy people. But I like the idea of a mystery box too, a good old whodunit, and have, you know, mysterious little items connecting to parts. That would be fun too.
So
Cindy.
I've actually thought about this because I'm a nerd. And part of my nerd is that I am like sci-fi. I love all things sci-fi. So I would want to do a Firefly box because Malcolm Reynolds and I mean Nathan Fillion and all the cast. I mean, really. And I think about like what would need to be in there, and it's like there'd have to be some kind of a keychain with the little ship on it for sure. There'd need to be something with either a picture or an actual statue of Jane in the Mud Kingdom. You know, things like that. There'd need to be like something sultry for Anara. Some good things. It would be a good box. It'd be a lot of fun. It would be a good time. So
Like a Dash toy dinosaur.
I was just about to say that, a dinosaur, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, there's so many tangents you could go on. Something for Shepard, something for Simon, something, you know, it would be amazing box. So
that's a perfect character box right there. Let's do it.
Absolutely character box. We'll sync up later, Crystal. We'll talk about it.
there are Serenity graphic novels. We can make it bookish. We
could totally do that. The other one I love, which probably doesn't hit the YA market, but we could, you know, in a world where everything is possibility, I would love a magician's box. Same reason, character association items would be amazing for that.
Like the book, The Magicians?
Yeah, like
that book.
Yeah.
Lev Grossman, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good recommendation from Cindy. Everybody should have that one on their TBR.
Love it.
Everybody says, I love the creativity here. I love that show. Of course. These are all our people. The nest is full of our people. Yes, Firefly, 100%.
I mean, vigilante space cowboys. How can you go wrong?
I'm still sad that Cowboy Bebop was canceled. R.I.P. Marina, we've long held the title of best items in any book box. Like even non-subscribers say OwlCrate has the best items. Can you tell us a little bit how you improve on value for our subscribers that way? And this stemmed from a conversation that we had last week, because your passion in all of OwlCrate is bringing more value to our subscribers.
Absolutely. I think like just thinking about what Cindy said before too, about managing relationships with a lot of our partners is really important, because it gets them to a place where they really know what we're looking for and what our expectations are for the items in the box. And so I would say that's probably the most important part of it, is just, working with our partners and getting to a point where we can communicate in a way that allows them to know exactly what we're talking about, and be on the same page in terms of communication. So I guess, yeah, relationships, communication is important, and the most communication and over communication sometimes is really important too, just because, especially with OwlCrate, the things that we want are really specific, and the artwork that we want is really specific, and the way that we want to display things is very specific. And I think that's why it is specifically so great.
That was such a cute answer. I love it. And I know that the subscribers love it too. People say, I love that so many of them are useful items.
Absolutely.
I actually keep the comb in my handbag, in any bag that I carry.
I love that it has the little pouch to it, so you it doesn't get all gunked up if it's in your bag with all your other stuff. It's good.
Yeah, because I will toss snacks into a bag or a pocket, and like things will melt. So yes, 100%. Curation team, Yeatasmin, we like those little bags.
Okay, got that.
Junior comb, and it's so easy to travel with because it takes up no space in like a little zippy bag. It's a good comb.
See, we even use all of our items too.
Yeah.
Cindy, what would you like to see change on a more global scale when it comes to shipping? Because I know that lately the cost of shipping has increased for a lot of folks. So I'm wondering whether or not you can talk a little bit about how OwlCrate might be tackling that in 2023.
Apart from inventing and developing our own teleportation system, we are kind of stuck a little bit by, international trade and how that works. So when we have increases, I mean, OwlCrate hadn't increased any of their freight rates in like the shipping rates for customers in a really, really, really long time until this year. And we were actually paying part of your shipping for probably the last 3-ish plus years. So when you think, oh, that was a big jump, we were paying a portion of getting it to your door. And it just got to the point where our providers had increased our costs so much that we had to make a change, because we want to be here for a long time so we can keep providing amazing boxes and supporting all our artists and all our authors and all the community and everything else. So that was the big change this past year. And it would be great for me, like in the broader terms of globalization and all that other stuff, if there was some kind of way that, there was a limit on increases or what they could implement each year. I know, you think different countries have more government funding that helps in situations like that, and other countries are entirely more capitalist model where it's like, no, everybody pays their portion and that's that, and there's not as much government initiatives for those programs. I know that a lot of the changes inside the US was that they're trying to compete with building a small parcel system like FedEx, Purelator, DHL, all those other things. So when we think about USPS, we used to always think, oh, well, that's the cheapest way to go. It's mail, but it's not anymore. It is just like FedEx, DHL, and we do a great job. Our founders have worked their butts off to negotiate amazing rates to get our subscription boxes out the door at a really reasonable cost for delivery. And we continue to do that every year and try and get the best contracts that we can based on either size or weight of our packages, things like that. We go every angle we can throw at the providers to see if we can shave even pennies off to save you guys money in the end. But unfortunately, with the increases that came over COVID, it has just hit hard for that part of the industry. I don't know if they'll rebalance as some shipping gets less expensive, but usually prices don't fall backwards. So we're probably going to be stuck with this for a while. Sorry.
We're doing our best.
Nobody's upset. Actually, everybody said worth every penny. So worth it. Thank you so much for putting off raising prices for as long as you did. I don't think anybody is upset. And if anybody received the January box, they super are not upset. I didn't know some of that information actually, and I just think it's really wonderful because OwlCrate is always one of our ethoses as a company is to do good, basically. And we have, I'm going to have Karina and Sil and the executive team on for a chat very soon to talk about those particular values. But it kind of bleeds through into everything that we do. And our job basically is to just bring you the most beautiful books with the most beautiful items at a reasonable price. And I hope that we're nailing it. Everybody says that we are. So go team. And I can see how hard all of my coworkers work every single day to deliver that top-notch experience for subscribers. Yeatasmin, Crystal, Marina, Cindy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for inviting us.
And thank you for being so transparent.
Thank you for having us. This was fun.
And just sharing everything. Before I forget, your care and attention definitely shows. Thank you so much, Leslie. That's a really nice sentiment. Thank you to the Nest for joining us. And I want to remind everybody to tune into our next live chat, which is tomorrow, February 8th, when Nest mods Ashley and Maggie will be chatting live with Rebecca Kelly, author of No One Knows Us Here. So if you love thrillers, tune in tomorrow night. It's going to be a lot of fun. And our rescheduled chat with Maureen Johnson is happening this Friday, February 10th. At 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. So definitely tune in for that. I think it's the 10th. And it is. Go me. Okay, so we will see you then. And I hope that everybody has a fantastic evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world.